Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Gaynor.
Okay, just the two of us. If Patreon's your thing, by the way, head on down to the link in the description below. Loads and loads and loads of stuff on there. All starts at $3 a month. Full watch-alongs. Welcome to Wrexham. Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Modern Family.
F is for
Family is getting really funny.
Yeah.
It's actually becoming one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There was a bit in it the other day. They're talking about stuff and it just had me cracking up. It's very funny. But anyway, check it out down there. Link in the description below. Just a bit of true crime. Man kills and dissolves wife in acid, then acts like a concerned husband, like you do.
There's so many of these stories that I just think, why?
What happened? Yeah.
Yeah.
What can trigger someone to
Yeah.
sort of like, do something like that?
Like there was a story where they were on the honeymoon. I'm like, why marry somebody if this is going to happen unless it's like for money or something?
Yeah, even still. But let's get into it. See what they say. Man kills and dissolves wife in acid and acts like a concerned husband.
On Wednesday, April 27th, 2016, John Todd called the Martin County Sheriff's Office to report that his sister, Tricia Todd, was missing. She hadn't picked up her daughter, Faith, from the babysitter that day, which was highly unusual for her. When deputies arrived at the residence where Tricia was living, the scene inside her house appeared normal. Nothing was ransacked and nothing seemed suspicious. However, her vehicle was parked across from her residence, not in its usual spot. Inside the vehicle, the police found her purse and keys left on the passenger seat, but her cell phone and wallet were nowhere to be found. The deputies initiated a BOLO, be on the lookout for a missing person. Tricia occasionally left her house in the...
What does BOLO mean, do you know?
Be on lookout.
Oh, okay, be on lookout. Never heard that phrase before.
No.
middle of the night to walk on the beach. To get to that area from her home, she had to pass through some of the rougher parts of town. The detectives suspected that she might have gone off for a late-night swim and possibly drowned, but they weren't sure. All they had at that moment was speculation. That night, the deputies contacted Tricia's brother and asked him who she was with last. Mr. Todd indicated that her ex-husband, Mr. Williams, was in town and was likely the last person with her. When the police reached out to Stephen over the phone, he explained that he had come to town for the week to visit his daughter, which was a common occurrence. Stephen Williams, who had previously served in the Air Force and had no criminal history, cooperated fully with the investigators and came across as a gentle, laid-back individual. Tricia had custody of her daughter, Faith, and Stephen was able to see Faith whenever he wanted. He visited Tricia and Faith that week in April. He drove down from the base in North Carolina and got an Airbnb in Florida. That day, the 26th of April, Tricia left Faith with him for the evening. The next day, Tricia was due to collect Faith from the babysitter and go to work, but she didn't show up. As Stephen was reportedly the last person to see Tricia alive, he was invited to the interrogation room at Martin County Sheriff's Office for a formal interview. Stephen told detectives that he went and picked his daughter up from the babysitter. There was a point that night, close to midnight, where his daughter, Faith, started to get fussy, so he sent Tricia a text message.
So I texted her, like, hey, being super fussy, I know it's late, but if you're up kind of thing, like, would you mind coming to calming her or whatever? And then she would text back, like, on my way. Awesome. So a few minutes go by, she comes over, she sits with Faith. Faith is happy now, 12:30, 1 o'clock by now.
Probably at the minute.
Yeah. She leaves, Faith is asleep, and then, well, she doesn't leave, actually, since her car's out of gas. Which, that really frustrates me. That's her thing. Her car never has gas. She mentioned there's a gas station on the street, and I was like, you know what, gas stations, gas cans, you got any money, I'll just drive my car, I'll go get you a gas can and some gas, no big deal. So she gives me a 20, I leave, the gas station's maybe a half mile down. Get the gas can, pay for it, get 2 gallons of gas, leave, put the gas in her car, and then I told her good night, basically. I'll contact you tomorrow, or you can call me or whatever. That's it. Next day, Faith wakes up, I take her to Walmart, and I messaged her that day after getting no reply. Straight to voicemail. I'm like, what's annoying? I don't want to.
Did he say I was messaging her that day? Going straight to voicemail?
Yeah.
When you message someone, does it go straight to voicemail?
If the phone's switched off, doesn't it? Or if they've run out of battery.
Well, if I message you and your phone's off, the message doesn't go through, it doesn't go voicemail, does it?
No.
It's just a message, unless he's talking about calling her.
Take her all day. Like, I don't like driving at night. So I was like, you know what, I'll just take her to Denise. That's where I picked her up from anyway, and that's who normally watches her.
Stephen's assertion is that he left his child with the babysitter and headed back home. Detectives found this scenario puzzling, as it raised concerns regarding why a father would leave town without knowing the mother's whereabouts.
Yeah. What do you think happened to her? I don't know. It would be like 1 in the morning or 3 in the morning, and she'd be like, oh, I wanted to go for a walk. She would say, like, I want to talk with God. But it's like, at 2 in the morning, you're just going to be walking the neighborhood by yourself. Like, you don't even have, like, some pepper spray. You don't have your phone. Like, is she that kind of person that's oblivious to that stuff? She's always had that, like, God will protect me thing going on. Like, nothing will happen to me. I'm a child of God. Thinking, like, that's good to have that kind of faith. But
He sounds kind of convincing, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He's not pausing, he's not hesitating.
No, and he's not trying to be overly nice. He sounds like pissed off, like, oh, I have to go get gas for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like you pointed out there, though, is would you leave your kid with a babysitter and leave town not knowing the whereabouts of the parent? You probably wouldn't. You'd probably like, I'll stay around or stick around, you know. Especially without even speaking to somebody.
But it gets to a point where, like, let's be reasonable here. Like, good people still die every day. There are times in life where things happen that we wish we could take back. And if this scenario that's involving you is a scenario where you either accidentally, intentionally, I don't know, did something, now's the time to tell us. I still care about her. I just don't want to be with her. That's right.
Tonight, the effort to find a missing Hobe Sound mother continues. Tricia Todd was reported missing on Wednesday.
We don't want to miss something.
Sheriff William Snyder says there's no timetable to call off the search, not ruling anything out at this time.
So we don't have any evidence of a crime, but we have very suspicious circumstances under which she's missing.
Over 60 volunteers joined a team of deputies to thoroughly search the rugged Florida scrub brush near Tricia's home. The police were tirelessly searching every possible location, hoping to find any clues about Tricia's whereabouts. While talking to Tricia's family, detectives learned some very disturbing facts about Stephen's past and his behaviour. Investigators not only found evidence that Stephen had killed Tricia's puppies, but also uncovered a troubling history. Although never officially charged or convicted, Stephen had been arrested for domestic violence against Tricia. Her mother recalled a shocking incident where Stephen had punched her in the stomach while she was pregnant, horrifyingly hoping for a miscarriage. While thoroughly going through the timeline of events, detectives found a hole in Stephen's story. One of the neighbours reported that they saw Stephen leaving in Tricia's car, a detail Stephen failed to mention in his interview. The investigators were certain of one thing. Tricia's car, initially found at her home in the morning, was clearly out of place. The task at hand was to uncover evidence, leading the investigators to collect footage from surveillance cameras at nearby businesses. Upon closer examination, the footage revealed something startling. Tricia's car had left her residence, raising red flags. What made this particularly perplexing was Stephen's earlier statement claiming she hadn't left until around 2 a.m. Yet the video footage showed her car cruising down US 1 at 1 a.m. All eyes turned to Stephen as a potential driver. If he had indeed taken her car, he would have had to trek back home on foot. After reviewing footage from 3 different cameras, they identified a figure that matched Stephen's description. In the dimly lit background, they could just barely make out a person with a distinctive gait. This individual seemed to be walking from the vicinity of Tricia's residence to the...
What's a gait?
I don't know, I was just thinking the same thing.
I don't know if it's like a style.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I've never heard that neither.
No.
Never someone say you've got a specific gait about you.
No.
Or a specific, is it a limp or I don't know.
I don't know.
Never
I've
heard
heard
it.
of it. No, I've not.
north of US 1 in the early morning hours. This revelation marked a significant breakthrough in the investigation. The detectives decided to confront Stephen with this newly found evidence. He was called into the police station for yet another interview.
See how it behaves.
And the neighbor saw you leaving her car. He saw you going back and forth. You recognize this area here?
That's the entrance to the community, isn't it?
Yeah, one way in, one way out.
The detectives didn't share the video CCTV footage with Stephen because its poor quality made it inconclusive, giving him the opportunity to deny it was him and claim it could have been someone else. The strategy they had was not to show him the video, but was to show him the locations of where the video cameras were facing.
So we see her pulling in. 12 away.
At the time you said she came over.
Perfect. 1:20. There goes her car coming out. A couple minutes later, that same car, her car, next to the U-turn, right here. Okay?
And that.
We see the car coming back in here. So literally went towards her house, came back. Why is that?
Oh, it didn't go home. You know, the cameras get footage of the sidewalk all the way up US 1.
And people on foot also. Around 4 in the morning.
4 in the morning. I'd be asleep by then. I did tell you that that camera, that computer plays, is HD.
It's you walking.
The detective was aware of Stephen's narcissistic tendencies, so she leveraged this knowledge and strove to establish a connection with him by portraying Trisha in a negative manner.
You got a lot going for you. You're good looking, you're young, you got straight, and you got this crazy, fat, crazy ex. She's come after you before. Did she come after you that night? Something happened. And you were just, oh, what do I do now?
No, she never came after me. Nothing.
It's an overwhelming amount of evidence pointing at you. So help me continue painting this picture of you. I just need to know where she's at.
I don't know where she is.
Even you know where she's at.
I don't. I really don't.
I need you to work with me. I need to tell them that you're being 100% honest with me.
First time I left,
Okay?
she asked me to go back and get her laptop so she could keep working. I said, okay, you don't think you're here, she's happy, so that you have to leave. And she freaks out. I'll go.
Okay.
So I leave.
Makes sense.
Your car barely had any gas, and I'm thinking I can make it, but it doesn't look like it. I just turn around and go back. And she's back. She's on the floor, and she wasn't very responsive. And I kind of freaked out. And I'm like, oh my god, now she's lying on the floor. She's not responsive, and this looks real.
It's quite a good technique that cop used there. The way
Yeah.
she sort of like sat closer to him, put her hand on his shoulder,
Yeah.
sort of like almost comforting, sort of like blaming, like they said there, sort of like blaming the girl,
Yeah.
sort of like for whatever actions has happened, sort of like proper setting him up, aren't
Yeah.
they? Good policing, I thought.
Because I can't explain. And all I'm thinking is, I don't know why you're doing this to me when I've done nothing but try to be a good person to you. So I just put in the car, and I'm just driving and thinking.
But she passed away in that car. There was nothing you did to her. She just passed away. And then you freaked out even more. Is that fair to say? Did you just lay her down somewhere?
It sounds to me like he's maybe punched her and left to get the gas and thought when I get back she'll be like,
Yeah, knockout punch, you mean,
Yeah.
sort of thing, and finished her off.
Out in the open?
Yes, I just let her lay there, so peaceful. You're just lying there, you're breathing shallow. I can't call.
Breathing.
I don't know where the hell I am.
We had already determined that she had passed while she was in the car. You can't go backwards. Tell me she was shallow breathing.
Shallow. Really shallow.
In a sudden turn of events, Stephen admitted that Trisha had passed away in his car. Subsequently, he chose to dispose of her body on the side of the road. However, he then recalled his admission, realising what he had implicated himself in, and retracted his statement by claiming that Trisha was, in fact, still alive, as she was exhibiting signs of breathing.
I was hoping she would just clothes? It was right there. Threw the whole bag away. I didn't ask for this. I just wanted to come spend some time with my daughter. I don't know what's going on. I just don't know anything.
She was in here and she was playing this way.
Was this carpet here?
This is the guy who wants to spend time with his daughter, who he punched in the stomach, the mother, while she was pregnant with her.
Yeah, exactly.
And all I thought was, this is some kind of like trick. This is some kind of like ploy to get back at me or to mess things up for me.
How long was she on the floor before you decided to check her or do something with her?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I just...
What did you do with her?
I was playing the board. Just freaked out. I didn't know what I should do at that point.
The investigators were convinced that Stephen was performing an elaborate act, pretending to be upset and crying, though no tears were shed. Despite this, the detectives had to maintain the charade for a while, allowing him to believe he was in control. Then they advised him that the best course of action was to lead them to the place where he had left her peacefully. He agreed to do so.
We're going to go south on US 1.
None of this seems familiar. None of this is like...
So have we gone too far?
I have no idea.
Do you love your daughter?
Of course I do. Of course I do.
Okay. You need to give her mother back to her.
I can't.
Okay, I told you she's gonna need some type of stability.
I have no...
You're all she's got.
I don't even know
You
where
are the
this
only living parent that she has left. You need to show her that she's gonna grow up saying, my dad is something to my mom, and he left her out. Is that what you want your daughter to grow up thinking? Knowing? Then take me to her. You have to. Stephen, you know.
I don't know. I don't.
The only reason you're not taking me there is because something else happened to her that night.
After driving around aimlessly, the detectives had made no progress in finding Tricia. Stephen believed that he had evaded arrest once again and was free to go home. However, he was no longer in control because what he had forgotten is that the whole time he was explaining this, he had told the detectives that he left his daughter, Faith, at the house by...
He's just trying to his delay tactics, isn't it, on his behalf. So like, don't say anything. Oh, this ain't the place. This ain't the. The more the delay, obviously, he's already admitted to it. Really.
By herself. As a result, he was placed under arrest for child endangerment, which gave the detectives more time to continue interrogating him.
You at no point try to do CPR, call 911. You don't do any of that. You go and put her in her car.
Yes, I could take her home, is what I thought. I can just take her home and she can out of my hair.
But you didn't. You wanted her out of your hair, and you got it.
Because I didn't.
You got it, and I'm going to prove it. There really is no emotion in there. There really is nothing in there for her, huh?
What are you talking about? I'm going over what you're saying. I wanted her to not be dead in my home. I wanted whatever this was to not be affecting me the way it was.
It's Tom Bagnall. Oh, we haven't met yet. What's your name? First thing I need you to get me over is you could tell them this initial version of events and leave out this whole, as you said multiple times, stupid laptop thing.
Because it was stupid and it didn't make sense.
Something doesn't make sense, it's generally not true. That doesn't look good. If I got up and I sat over there and you sat here, what would you think of me telling you that? Right?
Yeah.
You come back and Tricia's laying on the floor with an injury. You know, 911, boom, cops are there, ambulance, she gets treatment. And you did not do that, right?
True.
Yeah.
Do you have a conscience?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
And as she's laying in the back of the car, your conscience never kicked in and said, maybe she's still alive. Maybe I should take this opportunity to save a human life. Not just a human, but the mother of my child.
So you're insinuating because I didn't think that I don't have a conscience?
No, I'm not insinuating. I'm saying it.
You make it seem like I had this whole grand... I don't have any plan.
No,
I didn't know any...
This was the most poorly executed murder in history.
I didn't murder her.
Okay.
Two separate detectives had attempted to extract a confession from Stephen, but both approaches had proven ineffective. The aggressive and hostile interrogation tactics had only caused Stephen to become more withdrawn. It was evident that a change in strategy was necessary. That's when Detective Dan Duliak entered the room. Dan had recently joined the department, and this marked his first significant involvement in a homicide case.
What I want to do is try to set the stage so that you can actually tell the narrative about what actually happened, which is not that you planned all this. You know, it's maybe you guys got in an argument. Maybe it was over the computer, maybe it was over the gas.
Because sitting here and telling you that she attacked me, that's just another different story that you're just going to be like, well, that's 5 different stories you're telling now. And that doesn't help either. So what do you want me to tell you? What do you want me to tell you, Dan?
I want you to tell me the truth. The truth is never anywhere near as bad as what people will believe if you let them come up with their own story.
I wasn't believing I hated her. I never hated her. I didn't.
So tell me that story. I think you're a good guy. You're a family man. You're trying to do the best that you can. Okay? I know you were there. I want to give you the opportunity to tell me what happened.
People's imaginations will run wild, and they will come up with the most horrific things.
I don't even know where. It just don't know. It just happened.
Talk to me about from midnight.
I would never text her otherwise. It was already late. She had already left. I would have never texted her.
And you're a good dad.
That's it. That's all I was trying to do was just be a good dad. Just, okay, you want your mom? Fine. Like, I'm not going to deny you that, you know? Talks about nonsense and bringing up child support and just more stupid stuff. And I just, for the most part, tried to ignore. And then, yeah, there was a mix-up with the check, but that's not my fault because you told me this was your address. So, yeah, that's where I mailed it to. And then she's telling me that's not the mailing address. So I'm like, that's not my fault. If you told me you moved, I did the responsible thing. I made sure the check was going to go wherever you moved to if you're not at your mom's house. And then she's just going on and on and on. Now I owe her more money and back child support. It's just stupid. I was like, just let me have your account information. Just use the account number. And I'll direct deposit it, and this will never happen. And no, that's not gonna work. You can't do that. You owe me all this money, and I don't want this. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why you're so mad. I don't know if you took a freaking crazy pill all the way over here and that really pissed her off. And it just escalated. And then I just moved her away, and then she slipped. And that's when she freaking fell. And I'm like, oh shit. I asked her if she was okay. It was like a weird sound. She didn't say anything though. And then I freaking panicked. And then I just freaking panicked. And it just went so fast. And then I pushed her. And then it wouldn't push. I was trying to get her away. Just please stop yelling in my face. It's like, just, you know, like if she was at that distance, fine, but she wasn't.
Thinking with a history of domestic violence and punching someone when they're pregnant in the stomach, I don't think if she's yelling in his face, yeah, it's annoying, right? But I don't think he's just going to be like, get out of my face. Not if he's got a history of domestic violence.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm thinking he's going to be a lot more violent towards her than just a gentle push away of get out of my face.
And I'm like, please just stop. And so I went to move her away, and she slipped and she hit her head, and I didn't mean for that. That wasn't my freaking fault. I wasn't. And then all I'm thinking is, great, now I've pushed her and she's hurt her head, and I'm done. I'm just, everything I've tried to do, everything I've tried to be is done because I've made a mistake. I didn't even lose my cool. I just tried to move you away. I just did. She's hurt.
Sorry.
The detectives had enough to charge him with murder, thanks to the evidence of their animosity, his numerous lies, and his recent confession.
First, our top story, an arrest, as you heard, in the disappearance of that Hope Sound mom, Trisha Todd's ex-husband, charged with her murder.
Right now, the sheriff's office is focusing in on an area of the Treasure Coast for her body. Kelly Dunn begins our team coverage from their command post in Martin County.
That's right, Ashley and Michael. We are right off of Bridge Road, just west of I-95, where the sheriff's office has set up its command post. Sadly, they are on a search for remains of Trisha Todd. It was learned today that indeed she will never be coming home. She was murdered and her body was dumped.
Stephen had the entire thing planned out. He had previously bought a chainsaw in North Carolina and acid, and had dug a hole in Hungryland Wildlife Reserve. Stephen said he had planned to kill Trisha in advance, but although he spent all day with her the day of the murder, he couldn't get up his nerve. Finally, Stephen told them he was determined to do it and texted Trisha, their 2-year-old daughter who was spending the night with him in an Airbnb, was sick. When Trisha arrived, Stephen said he first tried to strangle her, but waited for her to regain consciousness so he could force her to reveal her email password and other information. Stephen said he planned to write fake emails to make Trisha's family think she had gone to Haiti on a mission trip. But when Trisha regained consciousness, Stephen said he beat her in the head with a club until she quietened. Then he choked her to death. Their daughter was sleeping in the next room. Stephen then took Trisha's body to a remote site in the Hungryland Preserve, where he had already dug a hole and readied a container with acid. It was there that he cut up her body with a chainsaw and buried her remains in an acid-filled container. He agreed to take them to her body in exchange for a 35-year plea deal that spared him the death penalty.
Wow.
That's a lot worse than I was imagining.
That was a bad ending.
Yeah.
For what he did.
Yeah.
And he got 35 years and no death penalty.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess they get the body and what was left of the body, and he's put to sleep, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Put away, finished, over. But that's just.
Brutal,
how can you have that kind of like anger
Hatred,
inside you
yeah.
and hatred of somebody who is your wife or the mother of your kid, and that much hatred to sort of go and plan something, even to dig a hole in the reserve and sort of like say that's where I'm going to bury, that's your grave basically, and that's where you're going to go when I finish you off, and then go through with it. Yeah. Even after you've had time to think about it and say, is this what you know you're going to get caught? Yeah. And I don't know how many murders go unsolved sort of thing, but it's the majority of them probably get sort of like, it's
a premeditated, like, I understand people who snap, but that was just pure evil.
Yeah, because that's something that's like never been done, never been charged with anything, only ever been arrested. But I mean, he's got previous for domestic violence. But it's some people with domestic violence. It's something that's like it's just an argument sort of thing, and it's resolved and people live happily ever after. Yeah. But this guy's just like
just pure
serious
evil.
psychopath. It's and then to try and blag it all the way through. The cops did well there getting out of him at the end. But obviously his plea deal to get him a reduced sentence, to tell him where the body was. I guess that's something they probably have to do. But the guy's, I don't know how old the guy is there, probably in his 30s. Yeah. So 2016 he gets 35 years. Then I don't know if they can go back on a plea deal. Don't know. I'm just saying, you know what? Too bad, mate. We've rethought it and we are going to sentence you to death or whatever it may be. But yeah, gruesome. Yeah. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next one.
Bye.
Cheers.